right, welcome in, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome in for our first ever IndyCar stream. I don't think this one's gonna do great numbers wise, but I'm just happy the leaderboard might be working. So if you notice, the numbers aren't in place yet. I'm having to set those manually one by one. So we'll get them added before the race goes green. But I think it turned out pretty well. Looks similar enough to our NASCAR leaderboard. They have Clint Boyer on track right now doing a ride along. I like when they have ride-alongs and stuff before the race. We used to have Wally's World. He would take a lap around the track, or Jeff Burton would take a lap around the track for NBC. That was always really cool. It was really cool when Jeff Burton missed one of the turns on the Roval and almost crashed. That was fun. All right, look at that. Look at that. You like the cut? Much easier to read. I mean, I got a compliment from someone last week on how easy to read our NASCAR leaderboard is. They liked the alternating styles. I could try to do red for the NASCAR one, you know, because we have the red header at the top, but we could try to do our NASCAR leaderboard like this, but just a shade of red instead. Maybe that might look cool. Maybe not. Maybe I should just leave well enough alone. Ray Hall Letterman Lanigan is too long and it's cut off, so it's Lanigar. Very nice. Willpower for Andretti. That's going to take some getting used to. Now, where's Alex Palou? So Newgarden, he's a really solid pick for sure. He's Joseph Newgarden. But Alex Palou for Chip Ganassi Racing, starting back there in 9th. Keep an eye on him. Hey, it's good to have you, Stacy. Okay, well, my TV's cutting out. We are green. I'm gonna have to fix my antenna. And now my... Okay, that's why I cut out. The Fox leaderboard hasn't updated yet. They're still showing lap 1, which now that I look at this, we're missing the lap counter. It is what it is. We'll fix it next time we do an IndyCar race. Genius in Math has returned. I like your name because when you come back in here, you have returned. So your name is very applicable. Woo! Willpower going around on the high side. Crazy guy. I like seeing this track run wide. A lot of times on ovals, IndyCars will really, you know, run a single groove. Doesn't really matter what track. There's going to be a preferred groove. but the good ovals will provide at least 2 lanes, so you can make a move here and there. We're doing pretty well. Good to see you, Doodlebug. Good to see you. It's hard to see these black numbers. That's why we still have the car number listed alongside. That really bothers me. We don't have a lap count. So David Malukas running off with this thing so far. Alex Palou's moving through the field. What? We mentioned Alex. There he is. Add file. I'm trying to fix the lap counter. We have a car backwards doing a Kyle Busch. No damage. And he whips it back around. We're under our first yellow flag period of the day. The leaderboard is very up to date. So Indycar, great job with your leaderboards. I mean, this is pretty good stuff. That was crazy. It's not that it's broken, it's that it doesn't exist. This is a brand new leaderboard. And they do their data processing different than NASCAR does. And so I had to change quite a bit. So I pretty much made this from the ground up. It didn't take me too long, because we have tons of experience now making these web scraping leaderboards. That was the 19 for Dale Coyne Racing that went around. Not a great start to the race for the Dale Coyne cars. A few guys further back in the pits. Not a bad call there. Oh, the Fox coverage doesn't have it? Yeah, I saw that. I saw on the Fox coverage, they were on like lap 4 and it still said lap 1 of 250. So maybe it isn't on my end. I have to dig through this and see what's wrong. All right, we'll try this one. So I'm going to close it for a second. The problem may not be on our end, so this may be all for nothing. Hey! We have a winner! We have a winner! Not bad. Not bad, ladies and gentlemen. We did it. Let's go ahead and drag this out a bit. Get a few more guys on screen. So I need to do... of that. That's almost perfect. That's gonna work. Yeah. So now you have 19 cars on screen. That's what I like to see. Well done, ladies and gentlemen. Well done. Well done. So it doesn't matter if the Fox broadcast doesn't have the lap counter. We have the lap counter. I got you guys. I have to fix this antenna. All right. I may take my headset off and just listen to the race on the television. I think that's what we'll do. So we have some guys that are having to serve penalties now for pitting under closed pit conditions, but they were already running in the back of the field, so it doesn't matter. Even after the spin, they still have him scored 20th. He actually gained during that pit cycle, it looks like. Kiffin Simpson in the 8. Tino Ferrucci still out there. Felix Rosenquist. Will Powers moved up through the field pretty well. Pretty well. I think he started near dead last, if I remember correctly. And Alex Palou, he's moved up quite a bit. Big mover. But David Malukas looked really strong on that first stint we had. I don't like the graphics on the arrow screen. I don't know, something about it just a little off. All right, green flag. Man, it would be so much cooler if they ran the dog leg. All right, we have a few guys pulling out. Oh, we have another caution. 2 cars together. Oh my goodness. Alex Palou is out of the race. Right front is broken. He got pinched. He should not, or no. He ran up the track and pinched another car. They got really close. I'm talking like 300 feet before that. They got really close to touching. And I was about to say something about it. And then when, I was about to say something, they ended up wrecking anyway. So it didn't matter. They got so close. So Graham Rahal made a good pass there on Palou. That really slowed Palou down. He washes up the track. And then he just makes contact there. I don't... Well, the commentators, I think, are blaming Rinus VeeKay for not backing out there. mean, I just don't really think he did much wrong there. I mean, I know we're running single file the majority of this race, but if you can make it to the outside, if you think, you know, you have a shot or there's track up there, if your car is there on the outside, you shouldn't get crowded into the wall by the guy on the inside. I think they're just glazing Alex Palou. That was, like, if it was NASCAR, they would blame that on Alex Palou. It's, oh, he tried to clear himself. It didn't work. Made a move, wasn't clear. But if it was Carson Hocevar, they would totally blame Rinus VeeKay. They would totally blame him. I've seen so many Starlink ads lately. I want to get one. I want to get a Starlink. I think that'd be really cool to get a Starlink Mini and take it to my local racetrack and stream live from the racetrack. That'd be really cool. Or if I go to a race in person, I could maybe stream from the race. Because cell service doesn't work, but Starlink just might. I think that would be really, really cool. All right. 25 laps into this 250 lap race. Now on lap 26. I don't know if our NASCAR leaderboard has that. I like IndyCar's data so much better. And it seems like it updates a lot more often. Like, that is really impressive. That's one thing that they do a lot better than NASCAR. That is for sure. I don't know if we can add a best lap field for our NASCAR leaderboard because I don't know if NASCAR stores that data. We'll look into that though. That'd be a really nice feature to add. Golly, I wish we could get some green flag laps in. We could be about a third through this race already if we stayed green. We had a really good restart going there, and a couple of guys ended up getting together. They still have Rinus scored in 8th, which is interesting. Yeah, they're showing Alex Palou out. For some reason, Romain Grosjean is scored in last, but still shown on track. But no data. That's interesting. All right, Rinus has now hit the pit road. I guess he does have some damage. He's now gonna lap down, shown in the pits. So maybe he waited until pit road opened. Man, these caution laps are going fast. Am I getting the data from the IndyCar app? From the website. From the website. But they probably use the same source. I use Python to web scrape the data and then display it on my own leaderboard. I'm glad they have their timing and scoring data available. I tried to make a leaderboard for the Rolex 24 for IMSA, and I was going to cover IMSA races, but IMSA has their data locked behind a paywall. There's one company that they contract with, and they're the only people that have the live scoring and timing data. So I can't legally use that. All right, we're back green. Thank goodness. Oh my, we're about to have another caution. These guys are crazy. 3 wide. Scott Dixon just made that top line work really well. Got a ton of movement up there. He's looking good. Scott Dixon moving on through the field. I really like Scott Dixon. One of the elder statesmen of the sport now. Which, I mean, guys like Scott Dixon, Will Power, I mean, they've both been around for a long time now. Dude, IndyCar and NASCAR have to work together more often. So they're saying on the broadcast that one reason the racing right now is like so varied, guys in 3 different grooves, is because the NASCAR guys laid down a bunch of rubber beforehand. Honestly, if that's the deal, then they just need to drag a bunch of tires around behind a tractor like they used to. That's how they used to dry the tracks back in the day. Scott Dixon continuing to move forward. Not bad. Up to 13th now on our leaderboard. I was watching, before we went live here, I was watching the Mint 400 with Jimmy Johnson. That was really fun. David Malukas, I mean, he is just pacing the field absolutely right now. Almost has a second advantage. So the leader may have a really big clean air advantage. So it's going to be interesting if we can stay green and they start running into lap traffic. These guys are so close to each other. If they run into lap traffic, will Malukas still have the handling? That should be fun. That should be fun. I hear really good things about that track. I'm not going to say too much about it, but I hear really good things about the fan experience. I wish IndyCar would go back there, but they don't have a great safety record at that track. That's really cool. Really exciting. Woo. I really want to go to the Bristol race, the spring race, or maybe one of the Talladega days. Saturday, I would probably go and stream on Sunday. I just don't really think the Cup races are worth going to see right now. Like, it's still exciting and it's a Cup race and it's a big day, but you're not packed in like sardines. If you go on Saturday, you can have like a whole row to yourself pretty much. Traffic's much easier, tickets are less expensive, and you get to see 2 races. You get to see ARCA and the Xfinity, or the O'Reilly Auto Parts series. Yes, Alex Palou will not win this race. He was my prediction for tomorrow's Cup race, though. Jokingly. Grok was replying to somebody about Alex Bowman getting out of the car. And I said, this confirms Grok is an Alex Bowman fan. And he said, like, guilty as charged. So I had this little short conversation with him in the replies to this tweet. And he's like, seriously, who's your like major upset winner? And I was like, Alex Palou. So that's funny. He is fast, but not in the race tomorrow. Palou was moving through the field pretty well, but he did not get a good restart, and it ended up costing him the race. All right, laps are finally ticking by here. Newgarden has cut a couple tenths off of Malukas' lead here as our leader is closing in on lap traffic. So as we, speculated, see how far back these guys are. 17 seconds. They're running about 22-second laps right now, 23 and a half. So good tire degradation. Not bad. Tire wear. But it looks like he might be a bit slower behind this lap traffic. Just keep an eye on it. That may be the field's only shot, unless they make really good adjustments. Or just have really good long run speed. So, Renus VK not having a great time right now. 4 laps down. 24-3. Yeah. So apparently he has steering damage. Have that a lot with NASCAR. Why am I getting a severe weather warning? Is that me? Am I gonna have severe weather? I saw Ryan Hall was live today. I don't know any of these towns. What is this? What? Are you guys seeing this too? On the bottom of your screen? Michael says first time since June 2024 Alex Palou doesn't have the points lead. That's crazy. He was so dominant last year. You hate to see the same guy win every week. A lot of people are hating on Tyler Reddick because of that. Same with Palou. But you have to respect the dominance. I'm getting hated on right now for not having an iPhone. All right, Malukas has stretched his advantage. Second and a half, not bad. They're running 24-second laps, not too bad. It is pretty decent fall off from where we were running. Now he's back under 24. Luke's is really just going at it. "21 seconds back." So Kaio about to go a lap down, it looks like. The scoring is a little wonky at the moment. Yeah, there's this severe weather banner going across the bottom of the screen, and it just said my local station, so apparently it's somewhere in the area. But the towns they're listing, I haven't heard of these. So I think I jumped universes, you know, Mandela effect. I haven't heard of a single one of these places. This is weird. This is really weird. Let me look at the weather real quick. Oh, yeah, there's some weather pushing in. And that's a severe thunderstorm warning. Severe thunderstorm watch in Mississippi. Have some special weather statements in Louisiana. I saw Ryan Hall was live. If you guys follow him or Evan. I know Double A. He's a big weather guy. He has WeatherX in his Twitter name. So he's a big weather guy. In Pennsylvania, there's some severe weather. How about that? All over, everybody gets some severe weather today. If I knew more about meteorology, I would cover the weather as well, because I really enjoy watching it, but I don't know that much. I'll leave that to the professionals. So Newgarden's kept him at about 1.1 seconds back. Not really gaining all that much, but he's not losing that much either. Pretty impressive so far. 60-mile-per-hour wind gust and quarter-size hail. Hail damage to vehicles is expected. Expect wind damage to roofs, siding, and trees. Alexander Rossi having a really good run for Ed Carpenter Racing. That's good to see. I went by AJ Foyt's shop when I was in Indianapolis last year. Almost a year ago now. Tornado warning or watch? Because a warning means you have a tornado on the way. So I hope it's not until 8. That would be a very bad tornado warning. Hopefully it's just a watch. I don't think we're supposed to have any tornadoes around here. All right, under commercial here. But we are side by side. Fox has done a good job with that so far this year. on the NASCAR side of things, keeping us side by side under green flag laps. And that really, really matters when you're on a shorter track. When you're at a longer track, a road course, or perhaps a Pocono or an Indy, it's, you know, you may miss a few laps, but you know, you don't miss that much. But if it's like a Bristol, a Richmond, a Martinsville, you know, where you're just clicking off lap after lap, you can miss 10 to 15 laps under one commercial break. Easy. Oh my goodness, guys. I went to an antique store today and I bought a bunch of old magazines, NASCAR Illustrated. And one of them is dated March 2001. So this was probably written in January or very early February. And it says Dale Earnhardt, another Daytona 500 win, like it question mark. So they were speculating whether or not he would win the title. And then there's a 1998, I think, year I was watching, or I got as well. And that one was saying that Dale was definitely going to win his 8th title in 1998. So it's really interesting to see. All right, we have our green flag pit stops. David Maluka's pitting from the lead. Now Christian Rasmussen scored as our leader. But it's so cool. I'm gonna go out to the car and grab those before our Xfinity race, and during the Xfinity race, I'll try to show those off. It's really crazy to see a magazine dated March 2001, but still, like, is Dale gonna win the 500? Who knows? Well, I have it on good word that he definitely will. Newgarden almost got by Malukas there. Almost. Side by side down the front stretch. Newgarden to the lead. Or he will assume the lead eventually, I should say. That's crazy. They went wheel to wheel. You do not want to see that in open wheel. Drove it in deep in that Chevy. I don't have an Indycar hat, so I had to go with the Corvette hat. Pato Award pit early apparently and gained a ton of track position, so he may be our leader once things shake out. Oh my goodness. Newgarden just got stuck behind lap traffic. He has, oh my, that guy has no clue what he's doing. Who is that idiot on track? Malukas almost used the lap traffic as a pick. They can't get around this lap car. He has no clue what lane to take. Clueless. All right, Newgarden to the inside. Not able to get there. He is having trouble clearing this lap traffic. And Malukas is just right there. This is crazy. You used to see that a lot in NASCAR when, you know, before stages, before the double file restarts, when the lap cars would restart up front. You used to see leaders oftentimes lose the lead because they were struggling to get by a lap car. You don't see it as often anymore. Man, IndyCar needs a few more ovals. They really do. With the growth of Formula One, I mean, IndyCar is so well positioned to become more popular in the United States, and they just haven't taken that opportunity, which the race in DC might help a bit. It may help because it is free to the public. And it's, you know, celebrating the 250th anniversary of our nation. And you know, there's just going to be a lot of eyes on that event. So depending on how it's handled, it could go very well for IndyCar. And it may be a really huge missed opportunity for NASCAR because they tried to get NASCAR, but the schedule was set and they didn't want to add another road course. And they didn't want to shuffle their tracks around. IndyCar, since they have so many big breaks throughout the season, multiple weeks, they had a much easier time fitting that extra race in. Man, it would be so cool if there was a racing category in the Olympics. That would be awesome. And for the Olympics that we're going to have, where's it going to be, in LA next? Perhaps, maybe. That would be sick. We have to rebuild Auto Club. It doesn't have to be where it is now, but we have to rebuild Auto Club and have a racing category in the Olympics. Or just have them race at like Sonoma or something. That would be really cool. Tornado watch. I mean, that's still not good. Still not good. So all I have to do now, Stacy, is I have to search for every instance of a tornado watch, and I can narrow down exactly where Christian lives. Exactly. The hard part is that half the country right now seems to be under some kind of watch. There were tornadoes yesterday all the way from Texas to Michigan, so there's no telling what's going on. There's severe weather in Pennsylvania right now, severe weather in Mississippi, Louisiana, just everywhere. So Scott Dixon, I believe he's running long. Which, I mean, I never really liked that strategy too much. I'm not sure if they're trying to 1 or 2 stop this, what the deal is. There's no way they can 1 stop it. I wouldn't think. So he may be trying to 2 stop it instead of a 3. But he's really got to hope and pray for a caution. I don't know. I just don't know how this is going to play out. Dixon was further back earlier in the race, down in the low teens, slowly worked his way up, and now with the help of strategy finds himself in our lead. Pato Award is the lead car of the guys that already pit. And then behind him, our former leader, David Malukas, down in 6th, lost that position to Joseph Newgarden. I think Newgarden pit at least a lap before Malukas and was able to close that ground pretty quickly. All right, Logano just said the same thing I was talking about. So Dixon hoping for a caution. I thought that's what was happening. I thought so. That's oh, golly. Christian Rasmussen, his hands were moving very quick. That's crazy. I love looking at the steering wheels on these cars, GT cars, you know, all these buttons, all these features. And then you go back and look at an Indy car from like 20 years ago, and like there's still a few, you know, little trinkets on there, but it's very basic compared to what we have today. I think the old Indy cars looked a lot better. The aero screen, it's great for safety, it really is, but it kind of, in my opinion, defeats the purpose of open wheel racing. I mean, if you're enclosing the car in a cockpit, you might as well make it look, I don't know, maybe like a car. It just looks so much better with the driver's head sticking out, but that was so dangerous. So overall, you know, good decision to go with the aero screen. You're not under any watch right now? You're not, but he is. You guys are apart for once. That's crazy. You don't normally see that. So Dixon has pit. Dennis Hauger is our last car on track. I guess he's now pit as well. Our leaderboard is a little ahead of the television broadcast, it looks like. That's crazy. Indycar, your data is amazing. Hey, I don't know if that's Verizon, because, you know, they're a big sponsoring factor, at least they used to be. What's NTT? I don't even know what that is. Telegraph and Telephone Corporation, Tokyo, Premier in Global Technology. Ranking them on the top 100s of Fortune Global 500s. Maybe, yeah, maybe it's NTT. Maybe I have them to thank for the spectacular signal that we've had. So Pato O'Ward out front by almost 2 seconds. Rasmussen there in second. This car did look to be a little sour on the handling, but he's making it work right now. Isn't this nice? The laps just ticking by. No stage breaks, just guys going all out. Different strategies able to develop. I think this adds so much to a race. They're saying Rasmussen's really chewing down that gap. Keep an eye on that. That last lap, though, they have Pato O'Ward scored faster, but the gap did come way down, so Oh no, that's the best lap. Last lap. Pato Award. See, he came in way earlier. He undercut to grab the lead early. And so his tires have worn faster. You know, he's been on track longer. Now, Rasmussen, he pitted more in line with our actual leaders. And Rasmussen's going to make a push for it. Pato. This may end up being a good call. We'll see how it filters out. He may have to run a little long here. Rasmussen's about to take the lead if he doesn't get involved in an incident here. He's looking to the outside. Pato tried to go up to, you know, consider blocking, but he didn't. Rasmussen to the lead. Pato back to second. This driver's eye cam is fantastic. Man, this guy, Christian Rasmussen, he has Splenda on board and Slim Fast. Might as well have an Ozempic sponsorship. Who is off the pace here? Oh, it was one of our Aero McLaren cars. My goodness, they were close. I washed up the track there too. Watch out racing around the Aero McLarens. ECR. Earnhardt Childress Racing. Childress. Those ECR motors. Will Powers had a great race so far, up to 8th. That is crazy. Started way back in the pack, and he's really cut his way up through the field, running really good lap times too. That may just be on account of when he pit, but that is super impressive. Super impressive. Look at this. Look at this. Fastest lap, 22.4. That's way off of Malucas's. But compared to our current leader, it's faster by a good margin. Keep an eye on Will Power. Now that I've said something bad is about to happen to him. Interviewing Connor Zilic right now. Connor might be the one guy that could possibly make the Indy double work, considering the amount of cars he's ran. They just asked him about the 500. That would be so cool. Kurt Busch did really well in his double. All right, back under commercial here. Christian Rasmussen still our leader. These lap times are so variable. You'll have a guy get a really good lap, gain some time, and then the next lap he catches lap traffic or catches some dirty air and just falls back. Ray Hall, Letterman, Lanigan, Ra. Oh my goodness. I didn't know we could do that. Learn something every day. That's awesome. That's awesome. Can I make the numbers bigger? No. It was worth a shot. May the 9th? That's a long time from now. It's a long time from now. That's not terrible though. Not terrible. You'll get through it. When I met my wife, we worked together initially, but once we started dating, we weren't working together. But we were in a different state. I moved back here, and so we were long distance for a bit. Not fun, but it is doable. Newgarden has about a second advantage on Malukas, so he's looking pretty good. Will Power currently scored 6th now. I guess due to attrition of our slower cars. Our guys that have stayed out and have now pit. Scott Dixon scored 8th. I don't think that's accurate. We'll see. We'll see where this shakes out. This leaderboard looks a little crazy right now. We do have some, so who's on pit road right now? Nolan Siegel. All right. Our leader is in the pits. So Joseph Newgarden to the lead now. They'll probably run another few laps, I would imagine. My leaderboard's way ahead of the TV. Even though the lap counter hasn't caught up, our scoring is ahead of the TV by like a full lap. Now Malukas scored as our leader. Newgarden, I guess, is on pit road. Now Malukas is on pit road. Everyone's pitting. So our leader's coming down. So Rasmussen, probably a good idea to pit there. He ran pretty long. If he got a good pit stop, he may have gained a little bit of time. May be able to hold the lead here. Yeah, Rasmussen moving up through the field. So Dixon is scored in 6th. I saw the 7 off the pace, and Dixon had just pit. I didn't think they would work their way back up that quickly, but they are ticking off the laps very fast. Michael says Alex Pillow will lose his points lead. Yeah, I mean, he has plenty of time to get it back, and if he has half the season he did last year, he will get the points lead back. It's just a matter of time. But, you know, with IndyCar, you do have way fewer races than you do in NASCAR. So you really have to, you know, win and place well on a very consistent basis. And Hauger really up the track. His car is not handling well in dirty air. As soon as the dirty air hit the front wing of his car, really up the track. And Rasmussen is really pushing hard right here. He's going to cut low under Rossi. Able to make the pass. He's moving through the field really well. That car is hooked up for the moment. We'll see how he does throughout the race. Will Power, I'm not sure where he really falls in terms of track position. These guys are pitting so off sequence to each other. It's hard to know exactly what strategy everyone's on. It's really just about keeping up with the leaders right now. Rasmussen, he pit like a lap or two before Newgarden. Newgarden was a lap, I think, before Malukas. And a host of other guys pit around the same time as well. So Will Power currently scored right behind Malukas. Pretty impressive. I think Will Power's had a great day. Great day. Just slowly moving up through the field methodically. Haven't really seen him make any crazy moves. I haven't really seen him make any moves so far. Hasn't been in the conversation yet. But he's getting there. It's Graham Rahal now scored between Malukas and Power. We'll see if that changes. Man, I may need to go buy some Slim Fast. This guy is booking it. Super impressive. Good run for ECR. Ed Carpenter Racing, not the ECR we normally talk about. Did Grosjean even start the race? Did it just not fire off? What happened there? Or is he one of the guys that wrecked out in practice? I don't know. So everyone currently scored on track. Dixon probably still running long. So he's potentially going to lead for a little bit. Run long and hope for a caution once more. I just don't know if that strategy is going to work out. Christian Lundgaard on pit road. Mick Schumacher as well, also on pit road. Good to see a Schumacher on track. Oh, we may have a caution here. We do have a caution. Our indicator light's on. How about that? That is crazy. That could potentially be a huge break for Scott Dixon, but I feel like maybe he wanted it to go a little longer. That way the rest of the field would have to maybe consider taking tires again. Dixon's definitely going to lose a lot of track position here, but the rest of the field will have to pit, you know, 30, 40 laps from now. At least. We are over halfway. When it's green flag, we click off the laps. So who is that? That is Lewis Foster off the pace. Currently scored 4 laps down. May lose another one here for pitting on a closed pit road. We'll have to see. I don't know how that works for Scott Dixon. We'll just have to watch and find out. All right, Scott Dixon on pit road. Rasmussen also down. So Rasmussen has been off cycle more or less for the majority of this race. I do think he ran a little longer the last time around. So Dixon able to get by Christian Rasmussen on pit road. Never know how that could factor in. Currently have Willpower scored second. Let's keep an eye on that. I don't know exactly how true that is. Let's see if we have any replays. I haven't even checked. This race has been pretty quick. So we do have a replay of the earlier contact. So here they go, diving it into the corner. Just a little contact there. They put the blame on Rinus VeeKay, the car on the outside here. If it was NASCAR, you wouldn't blame that guy. You wouldn't blame him. You would just say, okay, yeah, I mean, Palou tried to clear himself. But the commentators were saying, oh, he wasn't going to have a run, so he shouldn't have even tried. Like, maybe that's just a difference in racing etiquette between NASCAR and IndyCar. Because this is, you know, there is a preferred groove around this track, and it's shifted a little bit throughout the race, maybe a little higher. But, you know, IndyCar seems a lot about generating runs, just trying to catch the right moment to, you know, slingshot around the guy in front, especially on these ovals. So maybe they're more referring to that. You know, he didn't wait his turn, I guess you could say. Unfortunate for him. This was our battle between teammates. This was after the first green flag pit stop, I believe. It's Newgarden coming around on the outside. Malukas battled back. Then after some wheel-to-wheel contact there, Malukas let Newgarden go. And then Newgarden gets held up by lap traffic just after this. Malukas retakes the position. Then Newgarden takes it back from him. So a good battle there between teammates. Very good. All right, under 100 laps to go. Let's go 25. No, we'll go 97 times 60. And then we'll divide by 25. I think it did it wrong. Go. Yeah, I'm stupid. I did that wrong. 97 times 25. Just typed it wrong. 97. I can't type today. Oh my goodness, just throw me off a bridge. There we go. There we go. And then divide by 60. All right, so we're looking at about 40 minutes to go in this race. It could go as long as 50 minutes, but we should be done within the hour, barring a bunch of cautions. If we have more cautions, it will slow down the pace. But these pace laps are getting ticked off pretty quick too. You know, it's only a 36-second, 37-second pace lap. Only 13 or so seconds off of our average race pace. Kirkwood, Power, Dixon, Rasmussen. Rasmussen already diving down to the inside. Below Scott Dixon. They got so close. Dixon retakes the position. Oh my goodness. Dixon has really been making that high line work today. Even from early on in the race. He's been exploring, especially up on the, the restarts. Dixon almost got pinched into the outside wall there. These guys are getting dicey. Rasmussen's going to have another run here. He's to the inside of Dixon. Dixon once more able to make that outside work. Oh, they touch. Oh, Dixon retakes the position. Golly, this is a great fight. Oh my goodness. Could have ended both their days right there. Dixon and Rasmussen getting together. Now, you have to wonder how much that's going to affect the handling. And it wasn't a huge, bump there to the front wing. But carbon fiber, although, the composite bodies can snap back into shape, it does weaken them. The more you flex carbon fiber, the more the individual fibers actually break apart, and eventually it becomes brittle. So it didn't look like it did too much, but it does leave that question in my head. Dixon was not going to lose that position there. Award scored 6th, 7th, Newgarden, 10th, Malukas. I like seeing that 14 run well. A lot of history. Uh-oh. Huge bobble there for Santino Ferrucci. He's going to lose a position here to Graham Rahal. He's going to lose another to Malukas as well. Yeah, he's off the pace. I mean, not, dramatically. Still rolling, just not handling very well. As soon as I mention him. So move for Santino Ferrucci back to 10th place. Kyle Kirkwood currently leading the way. Ira Andretti guys sticking together up towards the front. The rest of our top 5 is, pretty well split up. Chip Ganassi, Ed Carpenter, Meyer Shank. Just outside the top 5, we have Arrow and Team Penske. Rahal, Letterman, Lanigan. So, I mean, it's not like we have a bunch of one manufacturer, one team up towards the front. I like to see that. A good mix. All right, back under commercial. You're under a severe thunderstorm warning and tornado watch. How about that? Let's check in on my weather real quick. Bang, bang. Thank goodness NASCAR's out in Phoenix this weekend, because if they were anywhere else on the East Coast, the race would, possibly be affected by rain. At the bare minimum, the Xfinity race or O'Reilly Auto Parts Series race, or the practice and qualifying of either series. So yes, I have a severe thunderstorm heading towards me, but it doesn't look too bad. We're not under a watch, but I am under a special weather statement. Gusty winds could knock down tree limbs and blow around unsecure objects. Wind gust up to 50. That's not too bad. What's the special weather statement? It's about the same thing. 1/4 inch hail. A lot of lightning. There's a chance we lose power. There's a chance. Hopefully we get the race in before we potentially lose power. If I'm not live for the Xfinity race, you guys know why. Not seeing any tornado warnings today. There were a ton yesterday. There was a really big tornado in Michigan. If you guys haven't seen the video, I highly recommend looking that up. It is quite dramatic. Just a massive tornado. All right, coming back to coverage. About 75 laps to go. It's closing in. Tomorrow we have the Straight Talk 500. Oh, William Byron has my Exalta hat on. I had that on earlier. Good looking hat. It really is. My custom made hats should be coming in this next week. So next weekend when we stream, we should have a little preview. Also, in other news, I had someone remake my logo. It looks the exact same, but it's higher definition. They did a good job, a very good job. Rasmussen was able to get by Dixon last pit lap 128. So that's our pit stops for Kirkwood and Power are coming up. I'm not sure I love this strategy. They have the track position right now, so that really helps them out. If they can run a fair amount longer, they could possibly finish this race with one more stop. So it could work out, but you have to think if they're running a really long last stint, their tires are going to be beat by the time we get to lap 250. So it's a little iffy. Double A says, how is the race going? It's going. It's been really fun. It's been a really fun race. Throughout the field, they're really dicey, for sure. And earlier in the commentary, the booth was saying that the track was perhaps wider than usual because the Cup guys have already been out here laying down rubber. So maybe IndyCar needs to run with the NASCAR more. I'm all for it. All for it. Pocono, bring back Michigan, since you can't do Auto Club. Like if they are going to run Iowa or a Phoenix, they could also run Richmond. It would be really crazy, but I think their bones would turn to liquid. They could run Bristol. Who got the pole for tomorrow? I think it might. I don't know if the leaderboard I was looking at was accurate, but I saw Joey up front at one point. Let me take a look. Yeah, Joey Logano, so it was accurate. So this was kind of surprising. I mean, the Penske guys always run well out on the West Coast, Las Vegas, Phoenix. Joey up front, Cendric. It's not oh, Kyle Larson's in second. It's not showing his name though. Daniel Suarez having a great start to the year. I don't know what's going on with that team, but Daniel Suarez is on fire. I thought the 7 car was cursed, but Daniel Suarez is proving me to be an idiot. Brian Blaney 5th. I expected him to, run well here. Ross Chastain has a good average finish at Phoenix, so he's up here. He's in 6th. 7th, Carson Hocevar. 8th, Tyler Reddick. decent. Josh Berry, I did expect him to run pretty well, having the short track background. My question was, how well are the Wood brothers preparing his car, working with Penske? Because we know Penske has pace here, and we know Berry has pace at short tracks. Can they put it together? So Berry was one of my dark horse picks. Denny, I expected him to run a little bit better. 11th. Bell, 12th. Buescher, 17th. I expected Buescher to do better. He has a good average finish. Briscoe can run well here, but he doesn't have the finishes to show for it. He's back in 20th. Kyle Busch, 29th. Not great. Austin Hill starting back in 27th. Anthony Alfredo, 31st. And Brad Keselowski, I don't know if he attempted a lap, because on the leaderboard I was looking at, it showed him as out. So I don't know if he wrecked out or what. Yeah, looking forward to it. Phoenix, you know, not really my favorite track, but it's a NASCAR race. I'm going to watch it. Rasmussen is closing in on our leader, Kyle Kirkwood. I like seeing Will Power and Scott Dixon do well. I really do. They are off sequence, so this could work out really poorly for them. But I mean, at the bare minimum, I mean, they're going to finish in the top 20, which, you know, is not the craziest thing to do in the IndyCar series. But Mick Schumacher's down 3 laps. Malukas was running on the lead lap, but he will probably lose a lap here. But I mean, he'll get it back very soon. Kirkwood still holding the lead, but Rasmussen's right on his bumper. Looking to the outside, Rasmussen dives it in. Christian Rasmussen back to the lead. Just ripped it away. Dixon was not able to keep up with Rasmussen there, so Dixon really doesn't have the competitive pace to win. But where Dixon has excelled throughout his IndyCar career is just finishing well. Finishing well. Last week was an outlier. He did not finish well. What happened to Palou? Early on, very early on. It was in like the first 25 laps or something. We had a restart. He didn't get a good restart. Well, he had worked his way forward. So he started around, I think, 10th, 9th, 10th. Worked his way forward up to like 4th place. Had a caution. Had a restart. He had a bad restart. He fell back. And when he fell back, someone was able to shoot down in front of him. Put a little dirty air on his nose. He washed up the track a bit, and that slowed him down. Rinus VeeKay thought he could get a run on the outside, but he didn't have enough room to really make the move. He was clear, but it was a very dangerous move that early in the race. And Palou came up the track and turned himself into the wall, broke the right front. So out of the race early on. 172 laps down. It's only lap 194. So that's my observation. I can actually show you a replay, I think, if we still have it pulled up. Yeah. Check this out. It was on board with Scott McLaughlin. So a little contact here. So Rinus thought he had space. This is kind of a Hocevar move if you look at it from a NASCAR perspective, but they're wheel to wheel there, and Palou continues to come up the track and ends up walling Rinus as well. The commentators blamed Rinus VeeKay for that, so that's where they stand. I think Palou could have given him a bit more room. but you know, less than 30 laps into the race, perhaps that was way too early to make a move that aggressive. It's a different level of etiquette, different racing procedure than stock car racing. It looked like the Allgaier Hamlin incident. Yeah, there have been a few incidents like that this year. There were a couple at Coda. Both of them took out Zillage, and another one of them involved Hamlin. Hamlin thought he could dive low to the inside on turn 1, and he almost spun William Byron. Had a lot of guys misjudge those bumpers. You're right. That was a really good example, Double A. That's a really good example. So it's different. I think with IndyCar, they're both racing incidents, but since one is open wheel and it's primarily single groove racing, I think you kind of judge it a little different than you do NASCAR, where if a car is at your door or on your fender, you don't have that, you know, position to run up the track. So Will Power scored our leader. He is about 20 laps off cycle, I believe, but he can probably do this on one stop, but he will have worse tires late in the race. So how is this going to work out? Rasmussen less than a second behind. He needs to consider pitting soon if he wants a chance to retake this lead. But he might run a little longer here to try to bridge the gap between how early he pit. I don't know. This could work out. Really needs perhaps another caution here. Rasmussen is just so hooked up. Car hardly ever looks out of control, even in dirty air. Just able to make the best of it. Really aggressive on the high side too. The only other guy that's really been making great use of the high side has been Scott Dixon. But Scott does not have a race-winning pace at the moment. Power still has the lead. Rasmussen's there, though. He's diving to the inside this time. Not able to get there. Will Power holds the lead here. Man. He dove it in really shallow. Didn't get a great exit, but he's going to dive it in here again. Into 3 and 4. Power's gonna try to hold this lead as long as he can, but he's holding up both of them. Oh no! Will Power just put Rasmussen in the wall. Will Power's not gonna make it back to pit road this time. We're under caution. Oh my goodness. What did you just do, Will Power? What did you just do? What did you do? And how did that not affect Rasmussen? He was a little off the pace for a second, but then he kept going. Do you know why Power left Penske? I really didn't hear too much about that. I don't know if he just wasn't happy or if they just wanted to make room for a younger driver. I can't figure there. How in the world did Rasmussen not get damaged there? I thought he was done. With how hard his right front got into the wall, and how that wing bent for the second time this race, at least the second time. How in the world? At what point does this start to affect the handling or the steering? Okay, so Rasmussen's saying something's off with the steering. We'll have to see what it looks like at speed. These wings are very precise to like what angle they're set to. So if anything shifted around there, it's really going to affect the handling of that car. It could increase the downforce to where it's too draggy. It could actually generate some lift depending on if it has a positive angle to it. So we'll see what happens here and if he has any issue with the steering as well. So is the rest of the field going to pit here? And is Dixon going to serve a penalty for pitting early? So many questions here. If Dixon doesn't have damage, this could kind of work out for him with the right set of circumstances. It could kind of work out. I think his tires might be a bit old at the end of the run, but he was coming up on a pit cycle anyway. This is interesting. The beauty of non-stage racing. There's like 4 different strategies working out right now on track. Guys that are running long, guys that are undercutting, guys just running with the leaders, you know, all pitting together. Wild stuff happening. The Newgarden's on pit road. Pato down. Currently, they have Dixon scored 4th. That would be insane if he brought out the caution, took out the leader, and held 4th position. That would be incredible. Or not Scott. Willpower. Where's Willpower scored? That's... I had them mixed up in my head for a second. 2 laps down. Not... Oh, it was just the scoring updated when I went to look. Not bad. So he might be a lap down. Might be. Willpower might possibly be on the lead lap, but he's going to be at the tail end of the lead lap if he is. You just have to keep an eye on Mr. Willpower, on where they have him scored. Yeah, I don't really think he has a good shot at it here. Especially with the leaders coming down there. Yeah, that really ended his chances at a really good finish. He could still finish decent, but he could have some damage from that incident. And he's stuck behind a lot of fast guys. Newgarden, Award, Ferrucci is up there. You know, Dixon, Rasmussen. These guys stayed out, I do believe. This has been a very up and down race for Hauger. He's been running very off cycle throughout the race. All right, so he's still scored on the lead lap, but last car on the lead lap at the moment. See, when this switches around and there's a guy a lap down ahead, that makes me question whether or not he's still on the lead lap. We'll have to wait and see. Yeah, they have him scored down a lap on the broadcast. So Willpower will be trapped down 1 lap. So he is out of contention there. Looks like the wing cut down Power's tire. The wing, that was the strongest wing I've ever seen. I mean, just hitting a tiny piece of debris sometimes will ruin these wings and affect the handling, or the smallest bump with the inside or outside wall will just ruin their day. And there's a dust devil outside the track. There was... That's crazy. There's a tiny little tornado outside the track, kicking up a bunch of dust. DW was right. The vortex theory, baby. These Indy cars got the vortex going crazy. I want them to show a replay of that. No, no, no. Show a replay of the dust devil. All right. Can these guys that pit way earlier, you know, running long, can they hold the lead? Rasmussen has had a ton of speed. A ton of speed. Lucas also up here. He had the race-winning pace earlier in the race. But once he lost the lead, he hasn't really shown that competitive speed since. We'll see how he does on this restart. Keep an eye there on Award and Newgarden if they can move up through the field on these fresh tires. Man, Willpower had such a good race going. That is just so disappointing. All right, so Rasmussen says he's good. This is wild. This might be the strongest Indy car that's ever been built. The best chassis ever built. So Ferrucci running in 7th currently, but Newgarden is on his tail. Oh my goodness. Blocked him really hard there. I don't know if Newgarden's going to like that very much, but there's not much he can do because this is open wheel racing. It's not like you can just hit him with a bump and run. Newgarden just cut it really shallow. Ferrucci's going to hold the position for this lap at least. Newgarden's getting really good runs towards his bumper, but just cannot make the pass. Newgarden down 2 spots since the restart. Ferrucci down 1, about to go down 2. Here he comes one more time, diving it down to the inside. I don't know if they touched, but that was extremely close. Ferrucci and Newgarden got very close there. Still side by side. Ferrucci is just falling now. Back into 10th place now. Auto's looking really good here. The tires have played a huge factor today. There's a ton of fall off or tire degradation, whichever school of thought you want to go with. That's how we saw Rasmussen initially take the lead, was just having the fresher tires. Oh my goodness, what a move. Pato jerking the wheel to the left, pulling out of line, making his pass on Marcus Armstrong. Absolutely crazy. Okay, let's just pay attention to his lap times here. Pato running a 22-1. Riley's running a 22, about a 22.4. He's running almost a full second faster than Malukas. So I wouldn't be shocked if he catches Malukas within the next few laps and potentially deals with him very quickly. I could see him getting a massive run. Rasmussen on 37 lap old tires. Malukas 42 lap tires. Rough. All right, awards only about 4/10 back from Malukas. Cut it down from over a second. So he's having to deal with a little bit of handling here. Running behind Malukas. He's gonna need a hand here. It's just so hard to get clean air when these cars can move up and down the track at will. Kyle Kirkwood for the win. He's not gonna win. Unless something happens to O'Ward, Kirkwood's not gonna win. Those are some old tires. I mean, the laps are ticking by pretty fast. So if Malukas held him up for an extended period of time, I mean, maybe, but Rasmussen has had the fastest car for the whole second and thirds of this race. But Malukas is also, I mean, somewhat cutting the gap to our leader. So Rasmussen isn't running great laps right now. Oh! Almost up into the outside wall. He barely caught the car. Rasmussen's handling has gone away. Oh, golly. It looks like he was about to come around there. His car is extremely loose right now. Excellent job there. Excellent job. If any division, any sports car, any local event, if they would just reach out, if they wanted coverage, I would do it. Just like I worked with 7D Games Studio to promote Greenhouse, I would help promote whichever, sport wanted to reach out. NASCAR Euro Series, let me broadcast that. If he gets in lap traffic, it could, I don't know, you definitely think it would upset the car, but if it tightens him up, it could make him a little more secure. The rear end is really stepping out here. Kirkwood might have a shot. Kirkwood might have a shot here with the right set of circumstances. If Newgarden can't get by Malukas here, Malukas is kind of the gatekeeper from the guys with fresh tires to our leaders. Newgarden's going to try to make this pass here. And they switched away as soon as we're about to see it. All right, Newgarden to third. They are so screwed. Now, Kirkwood might hold up Newgarden long enough for Rasmussen to stay up front, but nope. As soon as I say that, Rasmussen slips up again. So it looks like these two guys are going to battle each other into losing this race to Joseph Newgarden. We'll see what Rasmussen does here. He's going to dive it in on the outside. This is going to completely dirty the air for the trailing car of Joseph Newgarden. Rasmussen into the wall there, potentially. Really close. Almost wrecked right in front of Newgarden. So now move Joseph Newgarden into second place with a head of steam with much fresher tires. Probably like 40 lap fresher tires at this point. Or near that number. Newgarden's going to be pushing it really hard here. Kirkwood needs to do what he can to dirty up that air behind him. So arcing this late into the corner may be the play to try to take away that dive to the inside or even running the outside line. Try to really mess up the trailing car. The guy that's commentating, one of the guys that's commentating, Joey Logano, is a master at that. Newgarden to the lead. It's over. It's over. Without something crazy happening, Joseph Newgarden is our winner. Pato O'Ward was not able to make the use of those fresh tires. Just wasn't able to get around David Malukas. And Rasmussen's handling really fell off there. For the first time we've really seen all day. Very similar to what Ferrucci was dealing with earlier. Five laps to go. Coming onto the back stretch, the former front stretch. Into 3. Into 4. And back to the start-finish line. 4 laps to go. He already has a second advantage over Kyle Kirkwood. What a race. Newgarden had, a good shot at the lead earlier. He was fighting with Malukas, his teammate, for the presumption, for who would, I guess, assume the lead after pit stops. But Pato O'Ward had short pit and jumped in front of them. I believe that's who it was. And just didn't actually ever have the lead, I don't believe, the actual lead. But the battle between Newgarden and Malukas was really fun to watch earlier in the race. Well, we might, Stacy, now that we have the IndyCar leaderboard available, we might do it. It'll just have to be on days that do not interfere with NASCAR. And, depending on how my voice is doing, I'm struggling today. I only got like 2 hours of sleep. I need like 8 hours to repair my voice. I'm probably going to take a nap before the O'Reilly Auto Parts race later. Potato Ward, that's right. Potato Ward did not make the best of those new tires. Joseph Newgarden will take the win in the Good Ranchers 250 at Phoenix Raceway. Congratulations to Joseph Newgarden. The Chevy guys getting it done today. Congratulations. Good win for Team Penske. They're on the pole for the Cup race, and here they are winning the IndyCar race. So this could be a Penske sweep here, which what a weekend that would be for Penske if they could pull that off. And Malukas there in third. McLaughlin. People pronounce their name differently. I don't know who that is. I've heard his name a million times. Yeah, we're going to stream O'Reilly race later. NASCAR is still our main focus. I tried to do IMSA earlier for the Rolex, but their scoring data is not publicly available, so I can't do it. Arenas VK there. 5 laps down. Willpower, 1 lap down. Disappointing. He had better pace than that. He probably should have at least gotten the top 10. At least. Potentially could have finished around here. There we go. That's our first IndyCar broadcast. It was really fun. I really enjoy IndyCar oval racing. The road course racing is fine enough. It's good enough. I like the street circuits a lot. But the oval racing is just a blast. I wish they would go to more. You know, Homestead, go to Michigan, go anywhere. Couldn't go to Atlanta. That would be probably get a little too crazy, but and they would I feel like if they went to a bigger oval, which they have run Homestead recently, and they may be going there again this year. I can't remember. But they might have to change the package depending on which oval they went to, because some tracks with the banking and how much pace these Indy cars have, it would just be wide open the whole time. And the G's they would pull would be insane. So I think they may have to go down on the downforce a bit, lower the downforce, so the guys actually have to lift a bit in the corner. But who knows? Who knows? That'll do it for us. We will be live later. We might even go live and run some laps at NASCAR, but I'm probably just going to rest. And we'll go back live for the O'Reilly race. So